Hey guys, welcome to the Power Bros channel. Today we're going to be discussing why in 2020 is the best time to buy a Mark 1 Audi TT. Let's jump into it. So let's talk money. With the cars, regardless of whether it's a 150, 180 or 225, I've seen them change hands from as little as £500 or £600 with MOT right up to £7,000–8,000. Now, the only model I didn't mention earlier was the 3.2 V6, which I believe is about 240, 250 horsepower stock, predominantly DSG, but you can get them in a manual, I believe, and they obviously change hands for a bit more money. I think the cheapest worth buying 3.2 V6 with an MOT, service history, etc. is sort of around the £3,000–4,000 mark. And obviously if you wanted to spend top money, you could buy a Quattro Sport, which is a 240 brake special edition. But they trade hands for somewhere in the region of about £8,000–10,000 for a nice one. So I won't talk about them too much in this video because obviously we're talking about best time to buy and money. So yeah, if you're looking to buy one of these, they start a little as sort of £500–600. But if you're buying one of them, you've got to be expecting to have to pay another £500 to £1,000 getting everything done on it, because there is a few common faults. The sort of things to look for is you want a car, ideally, because they're 20 years old, you want a car with a good service history. Make sure it's been looked after, make sure it's had regular timing belt changes, make sure it's had regular services, gearbox service, etc., clutch, maybe turbos if it's old. But yeah, I mean, money wise, I'd be looking to spend minimum of £1,000 to £1,500. That should get you quite a nice one, maybe a little bit more if you're looking to buy an Audi exclusive colour or quite a nice specky one. I mean, as a rule, they all come with sort of nice bits and bobs on them. You can, if you look for the extras, they come with things like the Bose sound system. They can have cruise control. Some of them have a navigation system. Depending on whether you get the 16s, 17s or 18-inch wheels. And there's a few other little bits and bobs. But yeah, so between £1,000 and £2,000 should get you quite a nice sort of 80 to 100,000 mile Audi TT, nice spec, nice, well looked after, well presented car that shouldn't need too much money spending on it. This one here, this Nogaro Blue 225, is done 182,000 miles. I paid £1,500 for it. Now, probably in hindsight it's a little bit too much based on what it needed, but when I looked, this was the only Nogaro Blue TT for sale, and since then I've had this 9 months now. I've only seen 3 come up for sale. 2 were absolute scrap, and the other one was a 3.2 V6. So they are quite uncommon, and that's kind of why I jumped on it, because I love Nogaro Blue. Obviously I've had a Nogaro Blue B5 S4 in the past, absolutely love the colour, and always wanted an Audi TT. So yeah, that's the reason I went for this one. But obviously I've spent, I've not done the work myself, easily another £1,500 on it, getting it straight back on the road again. So bear that in mind when you are looking. So that's point one as to why you should buy, or why is the best time to buy in 2020. The price is obviously number one. Number two, a big factor for me buying this was the aftermarket parts, or the second-hand availability of parts. Now, obviously buying this was well in need of a big list. I mean, I spent a couple of days with a friend looking over it and making a list of all the things I'm going to need to change and I want to change. And because the 1.8 turbo platform is massive with the Mark IV Golf, the Leon Cupra, the Ibiza, the TT, the A3, etc. Tuning parts for the engine is very easy to get. reasonably good second-hand options available as well, should you want to try and keep the budget down. And also, because these have become so cheap to buy, the second-hand parts market is unbelievable. I mean, there's, on my favourite online marketplace, there is sort of 200 to 400 parts every single day listed, whether that's stock parts or aftermarket parts, wheels, trims, steering wheels, you name it, boost gauges, just general standard stuff, bumpers, panels, parts. So if you're buying one, don't be afraid to buy one that needs a little bit of work. If you buy a normal colour, which is easy to get, don't be afraid if it's got a scratch bumper and you need to buy a new bumper. You can pick a new one up for less than £100. There's loads of breakers. If you're on the Facebook groups, there's at least 10 reputable breakers that have multiple TTs in at all times. Very nice guys, reasonable prices. But that was a big factor for me, because obviously I wanted to buy it. I wanted to buy a few bits to put it on track. And I mean, I managed to source second-hand turbo intake pipe, an air filter, a set of lower arms with poly bushes. I managed to buy an intercooler system, a full exhaust system. I mean, the exhaust system alone was like £300 turbo back. But if you was to get the exact same one made, because I've got the receipt for when it was made, it was £1,000. So I've saved myself £700 straight away. So that's a big factor for me as to why I bought this, because it's got a great fun car, it's an iconic car, it's great for handling, and you can spend the money, buy the second-hand parts. Great track car, great fun weekend car, and it's just great because obviously you know that going forwards the bits are going to be available. Now, jumping on to the third reason why you should buy one of these in 2020. Now, the 1.8 turbo, if you've done a bit of research, you'll find is a massive popular engine with the car guys. So if you're looking to buy one of these to modify it, if you were to go to the 225 option, like I said, a stage 1 remap will get you straight to about 265 brake without changing a thing. Should you want a bit more power, you can do an air filter, a turbo intake pipe, a down pipe, and a front mount intercooler, and that'll put you up near the sort of 280, 285 mark with 300 foot-pounds of torque, which is kind of the capped limit for torque. And then if you wanted to go even further than that, if you got forged rods, you could then push the torque figure up, and then you'd be looking at sort of the 300-ish horsepower, 320 to 340 foot-pounds. I mean, even at the stage 1, it is a great fun drive. The car pulls really hard when you accelerate, and it's just cheap power. Colour-wise, if you're looking to buy something a bit fancy, there's what they call the Audi exclusive range, which is a combination of different colours. Nogaro blue like this one, there's Kingfisher blue, Merlin purple, there's Dolomite grey, Imola yellow, there's a couple of really nice greens, I can't think of the names off the top of my head. But yeah, there's a real nice sort of range of different coloured cars. Now, if you're looking to buy one and you want it to be sort of an iconic classic and you tend to keep it for a long time, Audi exclusive colours are definitely a way of going, because obviously there won't be many of them on the road. Point 4, that sort of the main point I want to make is, based on what I've found, and obviously I've loved these cars for sort of nigh on 20 years now, from when they first come out. I was in my teens, but there's not a lot that you can buy still to this day for sort of £2,000. Say you bought one for £1,500 and then you spent £500 getting it mapped. There's not a lot of cars that you can buy for the £2,000 mark that will give you the fun of the drive of this one, and it'll be 250 to 260 horsepower. So that's definitely worth bearing in mind. Picked a busy place to film today. So yeah, there's not many cars. I mean, feel free to jump into the messages, the comments. I'd love to hear from you if you can think of another car that will give you the fun weekend drive of this for the price, £2,000-ish pounds. That'll give you sort of 260 horsepower. Could be four-wheel drive, could be great fun as a weekend car. There's not a lot of choice out of there, especially with all the spares and the things that you can buy for these relatively affordably. I mean, as you can hear by the video, I'm not sure obviously because I can't hear the sound myself, but obviously being in the car, it's a really quiet, well-built, nice place to be. Even though it's got frameless doors, you don't get a lot of wind noise through the windows. and it is just a nice quiet car. Obviously mine is stock. The only thing I've changed at the moment is it's got a panel element, K&N panel element in the box, but besides that is completely stock. So the exhaust has a little burble to it, nothing too loud on the stock exhaust. We'll go through a tunnel in a minute, I'll give it a little bit and see if you can hear anything, but it is just a nice place to be. You can cruise at 70. I've done Nottingham and back, which for me is a 220-mile round trip. Absolutely lovely. It's a nice seating position. I got out not feeling like I'd been in a horrible car or anything. It got out really nice. I could easily take this to Germany without any real issues. The seating position is nice, etc. Right, so we're coming up to this tunnel. I'll drop it down a couple. Third's lovely in this. Right, so there we go. Yeah, just drives lovely, nice and smooth, not too loud. Obviously it'd be a little bit nicer with a throaty exhaust and a big air filter, but that is to come. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something you could use daily and something that you could use at the weekend, this is the car for you. It's nice and quiet for during the week, and then at the weekend its handling is great, its performance is great. If you wanted to go for a bit of spirited driving in the back roads, or if you wanted to go on a track day, ideal, absolutely ideal. Right, so let's talk economy. To be fair, this is actually pretty good. On a run, I get mid to late 30s, which is great compared to my S4, which is not even 30. If you're in a run, I mean, it's 6-speed, which is brilliant, so you get that nice cruising gear, 70, 75 in 6, you get a good return on miles to gallon. Round town is not bad either, because obviously it's only a 1.8. If you're not on boost, it tends not to use a huge amount of fuel, which is nice. In this, the gearbox is in a nice area. It's in a nice place to reach. It's easy to get to when you need to grab it quick. Gear changes are pretty quick. I'll tell you what, this car does not have got enough smile on your face. So yeah, with this TT, obviously if you're new to the channel, if you check the card up here, we do a Audi TT playlist, which has got a selection of videos from sort of how-tos to modifications and things to know about the Audi TT, so go check it out if you haven't already. Just walking around the back, look at the styling on that. I mean, this is the stock exhaust system. I have got an aftermarket one which I'll be fitting shortly, but I mean, look at that. That is the 3.2 V6 honeycomb rear diffuser, which I've also fitted, less than £100 on eBay. But yeah, I mean, it just looks like a great car from the back. It's got lovely rounded lines, really sporty looking. From the back, looks really wide and squatting like it just wants to go. And it's just a great looking car. I mean, literally, if you didn't do anything, I had the stock diffuser on the back, that is a stock car. Just jumping back into the lines, I mean, look at that. It's a great looking car from the back. Nice sporty. I'll quickly give you a look in the boot. For anyone sort of questioning who's not got one of these. Now, I've done a rear seat delete, ignore my filming gear, but the boot space is massive. I mean, if you look, we're going on to seating space quickly. I'm only 5'9". Now, that is where I like to have my seating position. As you can see, if you had rear seats, you would literally not get anyone in the back there. So that's worth bearing in mind. Unless if you're planning to buy this for 4 adults or 4 reasonably sized people, you will struggle somewhat. So do bear that in mind. But yeah, I mean, look at the luggage space now. I've got no rear seats, it's great. But yeah, so that is the rear of the car. I'm really happy with it. It is a great looking car. It's got nice little touches like the aluminium sort of trims, the gear, the fuel filler, all the gauges inside, the door handles, etc. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like to know anything else, or you'd like to ask me any questions, feel free to jump into the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer those as quick as I can. But yeah, that was just a quick walk around and a discussion as to why I feel 2020 is the best time to buy an Audi TT Mark 1. Hope you've enjoyed that, guys. Thanks for watching. There's another video from the Parrot Bros.